Yeah, thank you all for joining the session about JobRunner, and thank you for being here very early, the first session. That takes some guts, right? I'm Turk, and I'm coming from the Netherlands. And in the Netherlands, you have beautiful windmills, we have tulips, we have cheese, but stroopwafels, we have all kind of delicious food, and we have Utrecht Centraal. And Utrecht Centraal, that's the way I'm living. And there you have a big train station. And yeah, it's one of the biggest train stations in Europe. And it's the biggest, if you say like it's busy, of the Netherlands. It has 88 million passengers a year, 1,200 trains a day. And it's the key hub in Europe. And it's used only for passengers. So you don't see any other trains than passenger trains. And yeah, you can imagine it's very busy, but we have also a nice city with canals and that kind of things. But we don't have this. We don't have freight trains where they going to load or unload the tracks. In the past, in Utrecht Central Station, you had track 13. It's not there anymore. It's gone, that track. And if you walk there, you don't see a number 13, but that's because it was a freight, an unload, load track there. And that is gone now. It's fully passenger trains now. And we are going to compare your application as a train station. So we are going to load or unload some batch jobs from your application to another machine. Yeah, welcome. Welcome to JobRunner, job processing Java with JobRunner. And I show you everything what you need to know about scheduling and running jobs, and also in the background, all Java. My name is Turk. I'm a software architect, Java engineer, community builder, and that kind of things. I'm a Jug leader at Code Lab Jug. I like to speak at conferences, and this was very nearby, so I'm very happy to be here. I'm also one of the organizers of Fox Days Amsterdam, so if you want to do next year something more, it's there. I'm also working at the Rabobank. I see already, by the way, I'm now a colleague now. I don't know if you know that already. So, I just started this week also at the Rabobank, and very happy about that. And Utrecht Central Station nearby, indeed. But enough about me. I want to know something about you. Could you please scan the QR code, please? It's giving you a Slido, and on that Slido you can ask questions. And I'm just wondering, what do you want to learn? Or is it like the first session and you think like, this is my first session, just keep it calm? It's also okay? So I'm just wondering what you want to learn here. And I have a feeling what I want to say, but maybe you can say it during the presentation. That will be great. Questions are allowed, by the way. So let's departure. So we are going to departure from one train station to another. And we are going to talk all about JobRunner. This is the agenda. The agenda is all about JobRunner, the overview. I will give you the overview. What is JobRunner? Because I'm talking about JobRunner here, but maybe a lot of people don't know it yet. Who's already working with JobRunner? Can I have a raise of hands? Oh, still some people. Nice. Who does not know what JobRunner is? Oh, wow, that's good. This was very interesting. Nice. That's good, because that's why I'm here. I'm going to tell you everything about it. I have also some live coding, live templating, the Spring integration. I'm just wondering who's working with Spring here? Maybe some Quarkers? A few, okay. So we will give a demo about Spring, but we also show you the dependency of Quarkers later on. So you can still learn from that. There's some things I want to talk about. Jobs, scheduling jobs, crons, retry mechanism of and dashboarding, and some best practices. But first, Oh, wait, I'm too fast. JobRunner is a background job processing library for Java that lets you run jobs in the background and using the persistent storage and distributed workers. That means if you run a batch, it also contains state. And that state is very handy because you can re-initiate the job if you want. Mostly in our Java, you cannot re-initiate the job if you want to requeue it or that kind of things. With JobRunner, you can do it. And it's running background jobs to another machine if you want to offload your application server. And why are we doing this? I'm just wondering, who is working with legacy systems here? Can I have a raise of hands? Still? Okay, so 60% I think. And a lot of processing we do on legacy systems. And maybe that's not a good choice because maybe that some jobs like image processing, heavy calculations, you can better do that on another machine, a newer machine. And JobRunner can help with that so that your legacy system is much quicker and doing stuff it needs to do. So you don't need to change a lot on your legacy system because you don't want that. JobRunner is perfect to offload your jobs to faster systems. I'm, by the way, not from JobRunner. I'm a developer using it, so I'm not a salesman here. They use it at Decathlon, for example, to be faster because they have legacy systems and they want to be faster also on the system. And it's used for job processing in the background, and you don't need extra resources at the same instance. You have dashboarding with analytics. I will also show you everything about that later on. I will give a live demo. Jobs have state, so you can requeue it, I already said, also after an exception. So that's pretty cool, and it's, in my opinion, better than Spring's default, and that's Quartz, but that's only an opinion. It's also used by other companies already. It's pretty new, JobRunner. It's built by Ronald Delhuizen as a startup. And by the way, at DevOps Belgium, he had a nice presentation about it where he started like from scratch. I'm a developer and I want to contribute something, and he was beginning something with job processing, that kind of things, and he rebuilt things in Java instead of another language. So that's pretty cool to see. And he's growing now, and he already has some employees, and a marketing, and that this is growing. And I want to share that also. Yeah, you have two libraries. I will show you the open source library. There's also Pro library, and they are used by Decathlon, and they give some more dashboarding features and that kind of things. And they also use it JAVAPRO, and that's like with if something happened in Belgium, they need to count the hospital beds, and that was very slow. And they make it very quick now. And it was like a lot of minutes, and now they changed it to like instantly. So they improve there also. So that's pretty cool on to see. Yeah, you have some pro features. You have some priority queues, rate limiting, dashboard is better, workflow management, server tags. But more about that also later. But this is about the open source one. It's fire and forget jobs. So with JobRunner you can fire and forget jobs. So if you have a batch job, you want to have some image calculations or formulas, heavy calculations and that kind of things. Videos, you can better do that on another server than the server you use probably. And you can use it on another GVM. So how does that look like? It looks like this. You have one job server where you, it's more like an overview server, a control center. And that control center on the left is having on the right the worker. So you're offloading your batch job to another GVM or another server. And it can be multiple, it can be one. So if you have a high load, you can go to other servers that are much quicker and better at it. And they save their state in a database. It can be NoSQL like MongoDB if you want, or it can be SQL, all kind of databases you can use. And I will show you also more about the data. But what's differently with other frameworks? yeah, we have Quartz, for example. Who is using Quartz? Still some people. And that's a little bit older right now. It has a large community. It's battle tested, but it feels a little bit old. And the integration with Spring, in my opinion, can be a little bit better. Also, if I go to the documentation, I see dead links, and it don't give me the feeling that I need to use that one. So I was using JobRunner, and yeah, they have also more monitoring. You also have DB Scheduler. Is someone using DB Scheduler? It's also a pretty nice scheduling tool, and yeah, it's a little bit the same as JobRunner. Only JobRunner has dashboarding. It feels more integrated in Spring. And I also want to say to the Spring board, if they hear this, you need to make a default in the Spring initializer that I can add the dependency. I will come that to the later. There's also temporal you can use, Orchestra. They are also systems you can use, but JobRunner is really Java based, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But what are the differences? So if you are walking, at the train station, you want to see some metrics. Where is my train going to, and how late is it, and has it delays? And yeah, that's kind of questions you want to know. And JobRunner, you have Micrometer, and with Micrometer, who's using Micrometer? That's a good question. Who's not using Micrometer? Why not? Because it's one of the best tools, in my opinion. If you want to monitor your application, it's really great. Only already for the exceptions, you can count exceptions. Like, hey, if I cannot say that null point exception or another exception, but you can see also like the amounts. Like, hey, I have 10,000 times an exception of something. Then you know that's a priority, and you need to go to your product owner or manager and say like, hey, this is very important. We need to fix this. But yeah, that's about Micrometer. It's another talk. Yeah, and dashboarding we also have at JobRunner. And JobRunner is also nice because you can retry. By default, you can retry 10 times. It's automatically. So if your job fails, it's going to do the job again till it's working. So if you have a system that's down, and thank you. And yeah, you can. It will be reinitiated. So if it's online anymore, then it will be executed again. So that's pretty cool. And it also had integrated in Spring Boot annotations. You have Lambda support. Yeah, Quartz needs some more tables, for example, but that's minor things. Yeah, you have also completable future. If you want to code asynchronously, that's pretty nice also. But if I'm using completable future, I have some problems with creating retries. You need to create some manual code to do the retries. In JobRunner, you can just do it instantly, and you don't need to worry about that. The retry mechanism is just doing, and yeah, with completable future, you need to think about it a little bit, but yeah. Yeah, what to say, no default retry mechanism. The state in JobRunner, there's no monitoring, and you can't run outside your own GVM with completable future. So I cannot send my batch job to another machine. And then we are going to start. And this is, by the way, the train to my city. I'm living, I said, nearby Utrecht, but I'm actually living in the Betuwe. And then you're going to this nice bridge, and I love it there. But we're going to start. Where to begin? If you go to, can I do this? Oh, I need to go there. No, never mind. If you go to the JobRunner GitHub, then you can build it and you can use it, but you can also use a Maven dependency. And that's also pretty easy to do, I think. It's just only a JobRunner Spring Boot 3 starter, so you need to add that. And I'm going to mirror my machine. Start mirroring. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, this is the website or the GitHub site. So this is open source. You also have a pro feature, but yeah, please also start. Ronald will be very happy with that. But yeah, it's just a dependency. For Quarkus, you also have a dependency. You can just implement it. And in Maven, you need also, or you need also to have some JSON serialization. So you can use Jackson data bind of JSON or JSON. That's the only thing you need. So it's pretty lightweighted, and you can use it. So what are we going to do? We are going to create a Spring Boot application, multiple. We're going to create a leader application. So one is the server where you execute the job, and the job will be transferred to another system on a better server that's much faster, more GPU, CPU, and that kind of things. And that's the worker application. And that's not mandatory. You can also run it just on your own server if you want. We are going to add Maven dependencies, database configuration, we're creating leaders and job request scheduler. So let's start right away. It all starts at the POM. And at the POM you have dependencies. And I have a live template. It's pretty handy in IntelliJ. And you can add it, and then you get all the dependencies in once. And then, because I already reinitiated, my typing is not so fast. So there's a Spring Boot starter you need, JDBC, web. We are going to use a Postgres database to save the state if the job is executed well or not, or it's deleted and that kind of thing. So it has some state. You need the JobRunr Spring Boot tree starter. And yeah, I have also a shared module that's called service. And yeah, if applicable, you can also use an in-memory database. That's also possible. But if you're going to restart your application, the state is gone, of course. But yeah, it's all up to you. We are going to use a Postgres database, and the Postgres database is just the latest JobRunr use password. And we can just also exit it via IntelliJ. And JobRunr is automatically creating also all the tables for you the first time. So you don't need to worry about that. So you already have some tables with the jobs, some metadata, and which migrations you already did. That's pretty handy. So I already started with Docker this one, so I don't need to show this. The next step is we are going to create an application. So I said like, hey, we have a Spring Boot application, the Jobs Express application, and that's the leader. So that's traffic control. So there's somewhere in the Netherlands you have traffic control at the NS probably, and there they monitor all the trains. And from there we are going to execute the drivers to drive the train to different stations. So that will be the workers. So our workers will be the trains. And so I also created a passenger train application, and that's like our worker that's doing the actual job, and that's going to drive to another station. So yeah, if you're going I'm moving this away. Is it visible for everybody here, the font, by the way? Yeah? Nice. So I created already a controller, a default request mapping or post mapping, and with write. So if you executed that one, there will be executed a job. So we are going to create a job that's going correctly. So we want to say to the train like, hey, we are leaving right now, and it's driving. So we need something like a drive request. So we need to say to the train, let's go driving. So I have a shared module service I already created, and yeah, let's create. Oh wait, I need to create the shortcuts. We have this is a record, by the way. We have a drive request, and in a drive request you have a from and a to. So you have a string with from and a string to, and it implements. That's the only thing you need to do. Job request. And it needs a method, and it's called a handler. So we need to say like, hey, we want to say to our train, you need to leave from Utrecht Centraal, and you need to go to Amsterdam, or the other way around. and then it's going to drive. But for that, we also need a handler. And in the handler, you are executing your logic. So there we will see, like, hey, there the train is driving. So he needs to do some certain things, right? So we also need a drive request handler. So that will be a drive request handler. And that implements a job request handler and with the drive request. So yeah, it also have a run method. So implement the method. So here we have a handler. So at the moment, our controller is going to send a request to our worker. It needs to know, hey, I need to drive. So it needs to do certain things. So what it needs to do is, like, for example, a drive. So stations with the weights. Is this one? Yeah. So we already have some print lines. Normally use a logger, for example, right? And we have a threaded sleep. Also don't use it, but this is just to simulate that it's going to a different station. So after 10 seconds, in our case, it's at Amsterdam Centraal, and then it's going to drive. And then 3 seconds later, it's at Amsterdam Muidenpoort. And yeah, that's something we really want to have, right? We also need configuration. We didn't add the configuration, I see. We need a Spring application name, right? And we call it traffic control. I always write it with PH, but I don't know why. This was a website in the past, and I always use it to check my traffic situation. So yeah. So, and we also need some Postgres stuff, right? Let's go. Oh, I already. So we need a data source with a username, user. Is this going to work if I don't do it like this? Yeah. So you have a user, passwords, and a URL, and a database where we run JobRunr. And we actually need to say to the traffic control, you have a dashboard, so you need to enable it. So you have a JobRunr dashboard, runner.dashboard enabled, and we enable it here because we want to have the dashboard. What we also want to have are the metrics. So in JobRunr, you can also say, give me the metrics, what you have in the database. I also want to expose through an endpoint, the metrics endpoint, Spring Actuator. So you can also enable that one. And of course, you need the management metrics. Metrics include, what was it? Metrics, wait. Includes. This one, and then you can say expose me everything, but of course you need to think about, like, hey, don't expose everything, right? But this is just demo. So we also enabled the dashboard now and the endpoint for the metrics. So to go back, we now created an handler to handle our jobs. We created a drive request, and then now is the next step is to execute it. So in JobRunr, you have a job context. A job scheduler indeed. Station with wait. So we have a job scheduler, and in the job scheduler, hey, why is it not working? The job scheduler. Job request scheduler, and it already knows, like, hey, I need to use that one. And we need to have a constructor, right? With the job request scheduler. So we now also adding that. So we now have a job request scheduler. And yeah, we need to enqueue the batch. So we now give that. So we are going to do the enqueue. The enqueue. So to run the job, you need a job request scheduler and the enqueue. And the enqueue will request the train to drive. So we need to have the drive request to here. So we are going to say, hey, train going to drive from Utrecht to Amsterdam Central Station. That's what we are going to do. We also need a bean in the worker. So otherwise the worker doesn't know that it has a handler. So you need to say that to the handler. The bean drive request handler. So you also need to implement it, import class, and it now knows like, hey, if there's a drive request, I need to execute the job. And in the drive request handler, we have the things to execute. So it doesn't work with a service or something. You need to have a handler and a request that it needs to handle. At this moment, we have a train controller. Did we do everything? What you also can do, and that's for later on in the drive request handler, you have a job name. So you can give some meaningful name in the dashboard that you can see like, hey, this is doing this kind of things. So it's more like giving some context. So I'm giving like this. Job. So we have a job with name. And sending the drive request, or actually it's like driving to Amsterdam Central Station. So it gives you some more details of on the dashboard. So let's try if it works. It's always demoing, so let's see if it all works. So first we are going to start the leader, and the leader is the traffic control. I've got some problems. I forget something maybe. That's running. First I need to run, otherwise it doesn't see. Need to sync some Maven projects. And let's see if it's going to work. Interesting. Did I forget something? I don't know. But let's go to the backup. We always have a backup, of course. The traffic control. The controller. And on the controller you have the enqueue, what you said with the driver request. And the passenger train is also here. And you have the application. And we have the shared module service. Still the same. Service, and you also have a drive request handler with all the stuff in here. So let's try to start this one. I have a job experts application, and let's start it. So okay, it's now started. So we now started the job express application, and now if we send an arrest or a post, it will know like, hey, I need to send it to the other system. But for that we also need to run the other application. That's this one. And it's also now the work is started. So the train is ready and the traffic station is also available. So now we need to send a request, and I just have a simple post request, you can see it. And if we send it, it's going to do some stuff. If we're going here, so it's driving from Utrecht to Amsterdam. So we have a dashboard. So if you're going to a local host and an overview, and I have a jobs, and I have a one processing job. And now currently you can see, if you're going here, the train is actually driving. So the job is now executing. So it's now at Duivendrecht, and it's going very fast. It's the fast train. It's the ice in here you have. It's the fastest, right? And at the end we will at Utrecht Central Station. So you can see like here, like, hey, what's actually happened in my job. So I can see I was going to this system. I'm going to this system. Hey, I have an exception there. So that's possible. So now our train is in Utrecht Centraal. So we did now some things. But you can also requeue it if you want. That's also possible. You can also see the succeeded. So here you can see the job details, what we say, like sending the drive request. You can all send it, see it here. So that's pretty nicely. And let's move to the next one. But there can also be a delay, right? So if there's a delay in the Netherlands, we have a lot of delays. It can be worse, I heard. But sometimes, yeah, there are delays and we need to wait, and that's an exception. So there can be a runtime exception. So we have, for example, a runtime exception with something went wrong. And then I will show you the retry mechanism. So the retry mechanism, where is it? I need to execute the in the Scratch request. I also have an exception, and if I run that post endpoint, it will give me a failure. And if I go to the passenger train, it's already got an exception. Something went wrong, so delay. That's not good. So again, if you're going to this, you're going to jobs, and you see that one is filled. And you can see, like, it's the 31, it's already filled. And we have a delay. And you can see, by I am executing it 2 times, you can change it. But if you click on it, you can see, like, hey, what's the exception? Why is that job failing? Something went wrong. So probably something to do with, with the fall and all the leaves falling on the tracks and that kind of things. That's happening a lot in the Netherlands, and then you have delay. That can happen, of storm and that kind of things. And then something went wrong. But you can also requeue it. By default, it's 2 times requeue it, but sometimes it's a system failure, and you just want to requeue it. For example, you have some heavy computations to another system, or you need to fill a database, or you need to do an export, I don't know. You can requeue it, or you can even delete it if you think, hey, it's, don't do it. So you can requeue it, and it's again enqueued. Oh, it's already going wrong. So that's more about the failures. And we have also not the properties, and also for the worker you need some configuration. So you have a background job server, and that needs to be enabled. So you say, hey, this is the worker, and he or she do need to do the work, the jobs. You can also enable the metrics, give you some more metrics, default number of retries, so you can say it instead of 10 times. So normally JobRunner retries it 10 times. You can say it like 2 or 1 or 0 even, I think. And you can do some polling interval that it's going to refresh the dashboard, but default it's on like 15 seconds, I think. But you can also do that. But I had it for 5 seconds to show you the stations. Otherwise, we need to wait a long time, and you don't want it. So that's about the request. We sent the train to Utrecht Central Station. So we did a job with JobRunner. But what you also can do in JobRunner is you can also set a recurring job. So what you can do is like recurrently. So you can also see with a cron. For example, I have a cron, like, what was it? Star, one more star? One. But you can, and then you do a new drive request, and then you have a recurring job. So you need to delete it. So if you execute this post mapping, then every minute there will be a train. So that will heavily have an impact, of course, because it's going to, in the Netherlands you have every minute you have some trains that's starting. So so you can also do this with a cron. But it's like you don't need to do this post request again because it's a recurring one, right? So let's just do this one. I'm just restarting. And let's write the train again. Just the normal. And now it's rescheduled. So if we're going back to jobs, you can see it should be the rescheduled. But normally you see like the recurring job, and it's already probably succeeded, so it's not there anymore. So it's going pretty fast. Thank you. So that's about the dashboarding. The pro version, you can also search on certain job requests and that kind of things. But yeah, that's then you need to pay. You also have to serve. You can see where it's running, and you have the dashboard to see, hey, how long is the uptime, the process memory time, and that kind of things, and the free memory and that kind of things. So it can be handy, I think. That's the most of the things I wanted to say. You can also do the in-memory. So what you also can do an in-memory database, but then you need a configuration like this, a job configuration. And you say like with H2, if you want only to use H2 on your own server, you can do it. Only you need to start the database server and you need to set the data source and then you can talk to H2. Can be handy for testing purposes and that kind of things. It's possible. Only do it in a testing context, of course. So what did we do? We created the Maven dependencies with JobRunr, lightweight. We created a database with Compose, Postgres, SQL, right? You can do it in a memory. A configuration is just a configuration to enable your dashboard, to enable your job server, and maybe enable your metrics. And that can be very handy if you have a dashboard as Grafana or maybe SignalFx or something else. We created the leader, so traffic control we created, and we created a worker, the actual passenger train. In the in job request scheduler, we are enqueuing the job in a Lambda. We annotations with job, can you give some more context? I showed you the retry mechanism. It's standard 10 times, and you can change it to whatever you want. And I showed you the dashboard. What are now this good documentation? If you have questions and you don't know, like, hey, I want to know more about it, about JobRunr, then documentation is very handy. Of course, you can use AI, it will grab it automatically, right? But documentation is very handy. And you have some best practices, what you can do, like only if you have stored something into the database, a batch job, don't send the whole object to the batch server, because that can be pretty huge in JSON, or an object, right, with serialization. It can take some time. You can also send an ID. And then within an ID, the database knows, hey, I need to execute this and I already have the request. So it's going much faster. And that kind of things, that can be pretty handy. Lambdas as small as possible, then you are quicker. Yeah, and that kind of things. I'm not going into detail. Do not catch throwable. If you catch a throwable, then that will JobRunr do for you. And you can see it also in your dashboard. And yes. The roadmap. Yesterday I was talking with the founder, with Ronald Delhuis, and he was saying, I really like green software and that kind of things. And he's saying like, hey, there's a carbon aware feature coming and I'm going to merge it tomorrow. And next week it will be in beta. And then you can schedule your jobs on certain times. Why is that handy, you think? Yeah, sometimes you want it in the night. That can be handy because nobody's on the system. Yes, but you can also be carbon aware. And if you go to the website, for example, go back. Like Noordpool, they're giving the data what the prices are in the Netherlands. So you can see that you're now getting money back. So you can also execute your job because it's a heavy computation and earn money with it. That's pretty cool, right? And it's also carbon aware. That's the most thing. But managers gets on if they see this like, hey, I can earn money actually with JobRunr. That's cool. And also in Germany. So you see 2 lines here. Germany, you can earn like 14.25 per megawatt. It's pretty huge. But you can actually earn money with it to execute your job in the afternoon here. So you can see from 10 till 6, I want to run my job because then I can earn some money and run my job. So yeah, the people will be very happy at your company. And you can see like in the night, it will be very expensive. So although we are reducing the impact on our users, we can also think differently. Like, hey, maybe the impact needs to be in the afternoon or on the night, I don't know. And then you have like solar. In the Netherlands, we have a lot of solar power. and with this you're using the solar panels in the Netherlands better, and you don't have an more energy than you want to as a country, I think. So that's pretty cool. So how does that work? It's a background job and schedule recurrently or enqueue what you want, and you can add carbon aware, and you can do it daily before 7 or and then do the work. So you can say like on between 1 and 3, and JobRunr also knows that when it's the best time to execute your job. So it actually knows like on that time you have it's the best for the carbon also, and at the end also for your pocket. So what do you don't forget? What is important? What are the key takeaways from this presentation? You don't need extra infrastructure. So you only need a GVM. So you don't need to think about Kubernetes stuff and that kind of stuff, or we need to spin up a new machine, or of course you already have them probably, but it's just only a lightweight library you can use, and you can put it on another machine. Only 2 jars needed, what I said, and the dashboard can be handy if you want to requeue, or you have a lot of incidents, or you're working with high volume, with big data. This can be very handy to see what's going good. And the Lambda and the job request handler are the way to go and are pretty nice, and GraalVM native are also supported now. And they just did it pair programming with Josh Long and Ronald, so that's pretty cool to hear, of course. This is the end of the track. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, I don't know if there are any questions. Let's see. I see some questions. If my application is running on Kubernetes, how can I ensure JobRunner only execute on one instance of my application? It's a good question. I think it only will be executed once, but I need to check that. It's a good question. I will also forward it to the people of JobRunner. The rest is where people are interested in batch performance. I already said job scaling, monitoring we talked about, right? The batching. The priority queue is a pro feature. Sorry about that. Some good features, they need to pay for it, but alternative library that have the priority queue out of the box. I don't know, but I will say like, hey, I need to make it open source. Maybe you will do that. Can the dashboard be hosted in a dedicated service, not the leader node? Yeah, that is possible. So you can, you have your server on a different server. What I wanted to do is also have a freight train. So you have 2 trains, and I want to say like, hey, I want to give a batch job to only that node or to the passenger train, but that's actually a pro feature. If you have job runners, possible to define one job between those runners to speed execution up. Yes, what I said, but that's the pro feature. It's a good question, so I will also forward it to JobRunner itself. Maybe they make it open source, I don't know. Is JobRunner also your tool of choice if your requirements are to run cron jobs on one of multiple replicas? No separate job running service. I like JobRunner because you can use it on legacy systems. Mostly you have a lot of application that's pretty legacy, and you don't want to touch it mostly. If you have legacy, you don't want to, you want to throw it away or something, or you can just implement one library with JobRunner and execute it on another GVM. So you have it separated. And I like that part pretty well. It's pretty like if you have heavy computations, then JobRunner is way to go. But if you have, I think if you need to think about how can I improve my performance? If I run this piece of code on another machine, will it be faster? It's actually something you can discover, right? And then it can be handy. If it doesn't impact your performance, you don't maybe need to use JobRunner, but mostly you can find something you can use on another different server that's quicker and helps the performance and also at the end you're carbon aware, I think. So yeah, it's 45. So thank you for listening, all. If you have questions, walk by. Thank you all for being here, and I hope to see you later. Enjoy JCON. Thanks.